prisoner doesn't escape when he reaches the street. He escapes the moment the system gives him a gap. And that gap might be a hospital corridor, a food delivery lorry, a weak escort, a prison job, or a missed risk marker, or one routine movement where everyone just got too comfortable with. So stick around, because today I'm not just giving you headlines, I'm going to explain the part most people never talk about. How escape risk is actually managed inside prison, and what E-list means. Why some prisoners wear those blue, yellow, green or yellow escape risk suits. Why category A and E-list are not the same thing. And why hospital escorts are one of the weakest points of custody. And why not every prisoner who escapes has escaped the same way. Because if you understand this part, you will understand prison security better than most people shouting about it online. So welcome to Inside Out Justice, and this is part 1 of a series on how prisons lose people. You've got escapes, abscond, or accidental releases. 3 very different things. Today, we're starting with escapes. And recently, one case made everyone ask the same question. How the hell does someone escape twice? Dsavv was reported to have escaped custody twice in 1 week. One from West Middlesex University Hospital, then again from Lewisham Hospital. He was later detained in France, I think, after more than 2 weeks on the run. Now, to the public, that sounds like a prison escape. But technically, it's different. That was an escort escape. He didn't climb a wall in Feltham. He didn't break out of a prison cell. He just escaped while outside of the prison during hospital movements. And that difference is quite significant because the second prisoner leaves the prison estate, custody changes. Inside prisons, you've got the building that helps you. Gates, locked doors, wings, radio, CCTV, roll checks, staff nearby, movement controls, perimeter security. That environment is designed to hold people. On a hospital escort, you're trying to carry prison-level security into a place that was never designed to be a prison. Hospitals are designed for care, not custody. You have public corridors, patients, visitors, lifts, toilets, fire exit, ambulance bays, side doors, busy waiting areas, medical staff who are there to treat people and care for people, not run a jail. And all it takes is one prisoner who may suddenly realise, this is the weakest point I'm ever going to get. That is why hospital escorts are one of the most vulnerable points of custody. And now I'm going to give you a little bit of that insider information, so stick around. An escort is not just taken to hospital and watch him. There are risk assessments. How many staff, what restraints, what route, what waiting area, which hospital, what escape risk, is he violent, is he desperate, is he facing deportation, does he have outside associates, does he escaped before, has he threatened to escape, has he made comments, is he high profile, is the appointment known to him in advance, does he have anything to lose, because all of that together matters so much. A prisoner close to release might carry a different risk to someone facing deportation or a long sentence or a future they feel they cannot control. And if someone has already escaped once, that should change everything. That is why Dsavv's case shocked people so much. Not just because he escaped, but because he reportedly escaped twice. First escape is extremely serious, but the second escape raises a much bigger question. After the first one, what changed? Was his risk reviewed? Were restraints changed? Was staffing increased? Was the escort plan tightened? Was the hospital route reconsidered? Was he actually treated as someone who had just shown capability, motivation, and opportunity? Because in prison security, that combination is massive. Capability, motivation, and opportunity. That right there is escape risk. Not just what crime did he commit, but can he do it? Does he want to do it? And what would happen if he succeeded? And that is exactly what the headlines miss. Not every prisoner is treated as the same escape risk. People hear prisoner and think everyone is managed the same. They aren't. Escape risk is layered. You have categories, you have E-lists, you have escort risk, you've got intelligence, and you have history. You have got outside support, you have motivation, and then you've got the opportunity. So let's break this all down properly. Cat A, or Category A, is about the consequences if someone escaped. So in plain English, if that person got out, how dangerous would that be to public, police, or national security? Cat A tells you how catastrophic it would be if they escaped. But E-list is different. E-list means escape list. That is about managing someone as an escape risk. Could they try to escape? Have they tried before? Are they planning? Are they desperate? Are they connected? Do they have outside help? Do they need extra sort of inside prison controls on movement, jobs, escorts, clothing, and supervision? So here's the simplest way to remember it. Cat A tells you how bad it would be if they got out. And E-list essentially just tells you the prison thinks they might actually try. But then even E-list is not just one thing, it has different levels. Basically, you've got E-list standard. That means the prisoner is considered an escape risk inside closed prison and outside escort. So the prison is basically saying this person needs escape risk management in the jail and during movements. Then you have E-list escort. That means someone might be manageable inside the prison, but then risk changes drastically when they are taken outside, to hospital, to court, when they are being transported between jails, public corridors, prison vans, waiting areas. That is why someone might seem ordinary on the wing, but be managed much more tightly on an escort. Inside the prison, the building helps to contain them. Outside, the risk changes. Then you have E-list heightened. That is for prisoner when escape risk is so serious that normal closed conditions might not actually be enough. That might not necessarily be Cat A, but their escape risk is serious enough they need heightened controls. So when people say, well, he wasn't even a Cat A, that doesn't automatically mean he was low escape risk, because Cat A and E-list are answering different questions. Cat A asks, how dangerous is he when he gets out? E-list asks, how likely is he to try and how do we stop it? And then you have Cat A prisoners themselves, who can also have different escape risk levels. Standard escape risk, high escape risk, and exceptional escape risk. So no, escape risk is not just one label slapped on a prisoner. It's a very layered assessment. And those layers affect how someone is moved, what they wear, what they work, how much escort and how much freedom they get inside the jail. So now, let's talk about those coloured suits people notice. Blue and yellow and the green and yellow. Those suits might have seen on high-profile prisoners like Charles Bronson during outside escorts. Those aren't just fancy random prison outfits. These are escape risk suits. They are designed for visibility, because if someone is considered an escape risk, you do not want them blending into a wing, a workshop, a kitchen, a car park, a hospital corridor, a court building, or just a crowd. You basically want them instantly identifiable. If they move somewhere they should not be, staff should clock it. If they run, they stand out. If they try to just blend into the public, they can't do that easily. That is why the colours matter so much. They aren't just a quirky fashion choice. They are security too. And no, it doesn't mean every Cat A prisoner wears one at all time. It means that particular person is being managed with escape risk controls. Sometimes it is because they are an E-lister. Sometimes because of the nature of the escort. Sometimes because the risk of the movement is different from the risk behind the wall. Again, this is the bit that people miss. A prisoner can be one level of risk on the wing, but a completely different level of risk the second you put them on a hospital corridor, because the opportunity changes, and opportunity is everything. Now, let's move from escort escape to an actual prison escape. Daniel Khalife, HMP Wandsworth, September 2023. One of the most embarrassing modern prison escapes in England and Wales. He didn't smash through a wall. He didn't overpower a wing. He was working in the prison kitchen. He used a makeshift sling underneath a food delivery lorry. The lorry left the prison, and he left with it. It's the kind of escape people almost laugh at first. until you think about what it actually means. Because Wandsworth is not an open prison, it's a closed local prison. So if someone gets out underneath a delivery vehicle, the question isn't just, how did he get onto a lorry? The question is, how many layers failed before that vehicle left the prison? Was he in the right job? Was the kitchen roll risk assessed properly? Was he being supervised? Was his risk understood? Was the gate process follow? Checking the vehicle? Food comes in, waste goes out, laundry moves, contractors enter, court vans leave, hospital escorts happen, emergency ones. Prisoners go to work, stores get delivered, vehicles move through gates in and out. And every single movement is a risk. Prison security is not just one big wall. It has layers and layers and layers. If one layer fails, another layer should catch it. If several layers fail at once, someone can get out. And that right there is a difference between a near miss and a national manhunt. Now let's go back to the historic escape, the Maze prison escape. 38 IRA prisoners escaped from HMP Maze in Northern Ireland, a prison considered to be the most secure in Europe. That wasn't a quick hospital dash. That was not someone under a lorry. This was organised, planned, violent. Prisoners took control of part of the prisons. Officers were attacked and taken hostage. Weapons had been smuggled inside. And unfortunately, one prison officer, James Ferris, died after suffering a heart attack during the escape, and many others were injured. That escape is still remembered because of the whole scale of it. 38 prisoners from an extremely high security prison. That wasn't just a small failure, that was a catastrophic loss of control. But again, look at the pattern. It wasn't magic. There was planning plus opportunity. And that is what escape comes down to. Physical gaps, procedural gaps, intelligence gaps. And a physical gap might be a gate, a lorry, a hospital corridor, a fire exit, or perimeter weakness. A procedural gap might be a missed search, a rushed handover, a vehicle check not done properly, or an escort plan not updated. An intelligence gap might be staff not knowing what was being planned, concern not being shared, behaviour not being acted on, or risk just not being reviewed. You can have the strongest walls in the world, but if weapons get inside, if staff are outnumbered, if information is missed, if routine is exploited, and if procedures break down, the wall will not be enough. A secure prison is not secure because it has a big fence. It's secure because the layers inside the fence work. This is where I want to be really, really fair to prison officers, because when escape happens, everyone just piles onto the officers. How stupid are they? How did they not see that? What were they doing? Prison staff stop things constantly, but that will never make news, will it? But when something fails, they fail it. It's public. And that is what makes prison work so unforgiving. You can get it right 1,000 times and nobody will hear about it. Get it wrong once. A national headline. That does not mean mistakes should be excused. Absolutely not. If procedures were ignored, that needs accountability. If risks were missed, that needs fixing. If staffing was unsafe, that needs exposing. If managers ignored warnings, that needs answering. But if you only blame the person standing closest to the gate, we really miss the bigger picture. Because most escapes expose one of three things: a prisoner who was determined, a process that was weak, or a system under pressure. Sometimes all three. So when someone asks, how does a prisoner escape? The honest answer should be, they found the gap. Dsavv was an escort escape. That raises questions about hospital movements, restraints, escort risk, and what changed after the first escape. Khalife was a prison escape. That raises question about prison jobs, supervision, vehicle checks, gate security, and routine. The Maze escape was planned, violent, organised breakout. And that raises questions about intelligence, weapons, staff safety, control, and high security management. Completely different cases. Different decades even. Different types of escape. But actually, it all boils down to the same lesson. Custody only works when every layer works. Category matter, e-lists matter, escort risks matter, clothing, jobs, intelligence, staffing, experience, and routine matter. Because the most dangerous gaps are often the ones that look normal right up until someone disappears. This is why I wanted to do this mini-series, because not everyone who leaves custody has technically escaped. So next, we're going to talk about absconds, the cases where people don't break out, they just walk away. Usually from open conditions, usually from a system that's designed to test whether someone can cope with a little bit more freedom. Then, after that, we will talk about the most unbelievable and the most embarrassing, in my opinion, one of all: accidental releases. Nobody runs, nobody hides, nobody climbs a wall or climbs under a lorry, nobody overpowers anyone. The prison just lets them out by mistake. But for today, just remember this: a prisoner does not escape when he reaches the street. He escapes when the gap appears, a gap in supervision, procedure, intelligence, staffing, or routine. And if you want to understand prison security, stop asking only, well, how did he get out? And start asking, who saw the risk before he moved? And before I wrap this up, hi, my name is Dagna, and I was a prison officer in the UK for 6 years. I've stood on the inside of the system, and I've seen what the headlines miss. This is Inside Out Justice. It's where we say the quiet parts out loud.